The Devil's Picture, a Russian folktale. In a large realm that stretched from sea coast to sea coast, there ruled long ago an evil and powerful Tsar. The Tsar took a strange pleasure in thinking up impossible tasks for his subjects to perform, and when the poor victims of his whim failed in the appointed task, they were put to death without mercy, or, if they were lucky, they might be imprisoned in the dungeons or in some prison cell. One day the tyrant had a truly unusual idea. He summoned his court painter Michael and told him sternly, "I want you to paint me a picture of the devil, life-size, but mark you well, it must be a true portrait of him as he really is, and not how folk imagine him to be. Tomorrow it must be ready, frame and all. Do you understand? Otherwise it will be the worse for you. Now get out of my sight." The poor painter could not utter a word, and backed mournfully out of the royal chamber. But when he got outside, he quickly stood upright and wiped his perspiring brow. Then he took a deep breath and said, with all his might, though only to himself, began to say what he really thought. "The miserable fellow, the bloodthirsty scoundrel, he must have gone quite out of his mind. How could I paint the devil from life? Where would I get a hold of him so quickly? What can I do? Tomorrow I lose my head, and that is that. But as for you, you accursed villain, one day you'll get what's coming to you." The hapless painter cursed his cruel sovereign, and perhaps he felt just a little better for it. But when he entered his studio, what he saw took his breath away. There, lounging comfortably in his very own rickety armchair, legs crossed, was the devil himself. True, he was dressed in a fine suit of men's clothes, a velvet gown tied at the waist with a silk sash, and broad velvet trousers, but there were two small horns sticking out of his ample hair, and the leg which lay across his knee had a large horse's hoof on the end of it. The painter's face fell out of sheer surprise, and try as he might, he could not utter a single word. The devil chuckled and remarked, "Well, painter, I can see that you're astounded. I heard you very well when you cursed the Tsar in your heart and sent him to us in hell. You are right. The rascal should have gone there long ago. But you have been given the task of painting me as I am, which is why I have come. So let us get on with it. Don't you think we should? Time is ticking away, and the Tsar, as you well know, doesn't like being kept waiting," he said with a malicious smile. Then he suggested, "I will paint the picture myself in return for a soul. What do you say to that?" Well, Michael was only too pleased to agree to the suggestion, and assented at once. It was better to be in a warm hell than to die slowly in a cold dungeon, so the pair of them shook hands on it. Then Michael curled up on a chest, covered himself with the blanket, and fell fast asleep at once. Meanwhile, the devil set to work and did not rest until the job was done. In the morning, with the sun already high in the sky, he woke the painter up. "Hey there, shake a leg. Get up, you lazy bones. The painting is finished. I used the fieriest colors of hell for it, and I have even supplied a gold frame. Now give me a cloth of some sort." The painter rubbed his eyes, jumped up, and was as frisky as a lamb. He quickly took the soiled tablecloth from the table and threw it to the devil. The latter wrapped his self-portrait carefully and told the painter, "Take it to the Tsar and place it in front of the throne so that only he can see it. But you must not so much as glance at it yourself, or you will pay dearly for it. Place it in front of the Tsar, and then get out of the chamber as though the hounds of hell were after you. Do you understand?" The painter understood very well. He picked up the picture carefully so as not to disturb the cover, put it on his back, and hurried off to the Tsar with it. When he stood before the throne, he placed himself behind the painting, just as the devil had told him. "Come on then, Yudalbar. Show us how you have painted the Lord of Hell. I can't wait to see him," laughed the malicious Tsar, and in a few moments he saw what he wanted. The moment the painter pulled the tablecloth away from the picture, the Tsar gave a horrible cry and tumbled from his throne. His heart stopped dead from terror at what he saw. But Michael heard all this going on behind him, for by that time he was fleeing the room as if it were on fire. But the truth is, it really was ablaze. Tall flames shot from the devil's portrait, and in an instant the chamber was filled with acrid smoke and the smell of brimstone. All that was left of the cruel Tsar was a little pile of ash. Of course, the people of that land soon heard what a sticky end their Tsar had come to, and no one mourned him. All heaved a sigh of relief that they had got rid of the tyrant for good. Meanwhile, the painter waited in his studio for the devil to come for his soul, as they had agreed. For a day, then two, he waited in vain. Only on the third day, when the evening star rose in the sky, was there a clatter in the hearth, and there in front of Michael stood the devil, holding the frame from his picture. "Greetings, my friend," the horned one grinned. "I hope you are satisfied with how things turned out." Well, of course, he had every reason to be satisfied with what had happened to the Tsar. Nor was he the only one by a long chalk. But what was going to happen to him now? "You have come for my soul, haven't you?" said the painter sadly. "Whatever would hell do with an artist's soul like yours?" laughed the devil. "When I said I should paint the picture for his soul, I didn't mean yours, but the Tsar's own, and I took him off to hell right away. Here's the frame, which is all that was left of the painting. You ought to have something for your pains. It is made of pure gold, and should you ever find yourself short of money, you ought to get a good price for it." No sooner had the devil finished speaking that he disappeared, as though the ground had swallowed him up. All that was left behind was a whiff of sulphurous smoke in the painter's sitting room, and of course, that gold frame, which the painter was able to live off comfortably for many a long year. The end. Thank you for listening. I have many more unusual folk tales and fairy tales that I'm going to be making videos about. If you're interested, please let me know, like and subscribe. And thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.